Hey, what's up, turtles? It's Krik here with Black Owl Outdoors. And today I wanted to do a video talking about why I choose to wear wool in the winter. I have a couple different articles and pieces of gear set up behind me, so just take a walk with me and I'll get into it and tell you why I like the wool and how I use it. Now I have different layers and pieces of gear of wool set up on this clothesline out here, which I think is pretty cool. But to start right here, I have a wool cap. This is actually a Carhartt hat, and it's a wool blend. This is in that sort of cadet military style cap, which I really like. But for wool and in a hat, it's really warm. Now this hat's not going to cover my ears. It's going to sit on top of my head. But because it is wool, it's going to retain a lot of heat. And I just like this little green, this green style. It's almost has a modeling to it, not just solid green, almost a check. Velcro in the back. See the Carhartt there. I don't have a wool beanie. I've been wearing sort of acrylic beanies. I'm in the market looking for a wool beanie. So if you know any companies in that watch cap style that I like to wear, let me know. And you know, this is just, as you know, from head to toe. Wool from head to toe in the winter is really great for a few reasons. One, because it's super warm. Wool is very warm. Now it's heavy compared to a synthetic, but that's the trade-off you're going to get for other characteristics that make wool really great, and I'll touch on those as I sort of go back into these different garments I have. Underneath the hat right here, I have a pair of wool socks. I think maybe the only thing that's 100% wool that I have right now is this blanket, maybe this old jacket. I'll get into that. But this is a blend. These are smart wool socks, winter, heavier weight that I wear in the winter with my winter boots. Really nice socks. I like the fact that you can see it has a little bit of constriction here over the feet, keeps it really nice, snugly to your feet. It's not going to move around or bunch up. But this is a blend, like I said, as well. You get the warm capabilities of the wool with the blend just to make it a little bit, you know, you get that stretch to it and the wicking properties of the blend, the synthetic blend in here. But nonetheless, wool socks, and I really wear wool socks not year-round, in Pennsylvania specifically. And when I was living in California in a more arid climate without the super humid weather, I'd wear wool socks when I was out working with my boots, a lighter wool sock. But again, wool socks for the winter, really great. Activity dependent wool is great. Now, if I wanted to be super active, if I was planning on covering miles and miles and I wasn't going to stop and hang out for most of the day, I probably wouldn't wear too much wool just because it's going to be heavy. It's really warm. Once in the winter, when you're moving a lot and you're generating a lot of body heat, you really don't need to wear that many layers if you're continually moving. This is more for if I'm going to maybe walk a few miles, come out to camp and hang around camp, get a fire going, and just, you know, maybe do some bushcraft, cook, just hang out. That type of basic activity level in the forest. Not for really high activity level. Am I going to wear too much wool? This is a military surplus wool blanket that I found at a thrift store. I paid $2 for this. This is 100% wool. I don't know where the tag is, but I would show you if I could find it easy. But this is 100% wool. I'm not sure the exact dimensions on this, but I've already done a video on why a wool blanket's really great. You can wear it as an outer layer, as a garment, you know, put a hood in it. I usually use this to put over top of my ground tarp if I'm going to be hanging out, someplace to sit down, keep the cold from creeping through the ground tarp, because wool is very insulative. And the thicker the loft you get, the more insulative properties you're going to have. Wool will keep its insulative properties when it's cold, but it gets ridiculously heavy when it gets wet. It'll still keep that warmth as it gets wet, but it becomes super heavy and really uncomfortable to wear. So if it's going to be precipitating, you know, snow, you know, maybe not that big a deal, but I really wouldn't want to wear wool as my outer layer if it's going to be raining and or snowing, just because it's going to absorb it depending on the blend if it has a waterproof layer. But most wool is just going to be the wool, not really have a waterproof membrane. Wool blankets, just clutch, super clutch to have. There's a lot of variability in wool blankets, price, quality, weaves, all that. But like I said, for $2, 100% wool, this is a super great find. And I'm going to miss the wool actually as the seasons progress and spring and summer come. I'm going to miss wearing wool. Moving on to the wool jacket I have in this lineup as the outerwear goes. Why I like to wear a wool jacket is just because it's super warm. Like I mentioned before, it's going to be heavy. But if it's quality wool constructed with quality materials, craftsmanship, all that, it's going to last a really long time. This is a hunt coat made by Woolrich, and this was our grandfathers, Stony and I grandfathers. This was bought brand new in 1947. That's pretty crazy to think. You know, what is that? Over 60 some years old. This jacket is still very functional. A few signs of wear. Need maybe a little bit of stitching in a few places, but nonetheless completely functional to wear in the winter. This is a hunt coat. Like I said, it sort of has the pockets set up that you'd see in a field coat, that traditional field coat style. A few hand warmer pockets right here. I've been wearing a few different Woolrich coats in this winter that I have a lot of people ask me about what they are. The one was bought brand new, which is the black and red one that you've seen, and also the tan sort of plaid style. That was found in a thrift store for pretty cheap. It was a present given to me. But I like wool as my coat in the winter for reasons I've already stated. But why I really like Woolrich coats, some of the design features, is one, the high collar. And I get this all buttoned up. How high this collar comes keeps the draft from going down down my neck and down my back. The advantage of having a high collar as opposed to a hood is that it's going to keep my peripheral open and just my sort of bubble of sight, if you will. If I have a hood coming down here, it really restricts what I can see in the forest and my hearing. But if I have a collar here, all this is still open in front of me. It stops the cold. I can even wrap, maybe a scarf, bandana or a shamag around my neck if I need to. But that's really nice. I really, really like these high collars. I don't ever find myself missing a hood wearing these jackets, even in the coldest weather it's been this year, which has been very, very cold. With that being said, a warm hat is important if you're not going to have a hood in really cold weather, if you're just going to have a high collar, but nonetheless really great. These hand warmer pockets up here too are super nice, really comfortable to hang the arms, really comfortable position. And then this is a hunt coat, and as you can see back here, if I was going to use this for small game in colder weather, would be the pocket you can store it in. And there's a flap on each side. Squirrels, rabbits, fowl, whatever you're going to hunt, you can carry this then without having a bag on you. It's a feature you see in small game vests, and this jacket's really cool. Just an awesome all-around jacket. And it's just really cool to have something that's this old that was part of the family. It's been passed down, and it's still functional. Still have no problem wearing this and being warm in the dead of winter. And one more thing, touching on this jacket, a lot of wool garments that I am drawn to is just a simplistic design, and this being full buttons is really nice. Zippers eventually going to fail. Snaps are going to probably eventually fail, have the potential to, but just a simple button or, really in the line with the toggle system as well, lasts forever. Super easy to, switch them out. They get worn out, they break, put a new one on. Just a hole through, reinforced edges. Really simple, really easy, going to really last a long time. And this jacket is a direct example of that. Moving on to the mid layer that I have on this line right now, I actually have this wool sweater that I haven't really worn that much this winter. Last winter I wore it a lot. That's just kind of how things get cycled through in my collection. But this is a wool sweater. A lot of people ask me about where I got this sweater when I was wearing it a lot last winter. And this is actually, I believe it was bought at Gap. not really an outdoor maker, but I don't even know why I was in a Gap store. But anyways, it was a wool sweater. The price was right. It was cheap on sale, probably just trying to get rid of it for spring or something like that. I'm always looking out for a bargain. And it's really great for a few reasons why I like this sweater, and one is the collar up here. I've been looking for something like this for a while now. People have asked me about it, where I got it, if there's something similar. I haven't found any. But one is this high collar, comes up on the neck. It has this really nice faux, whatever material. I'm not even sure what this is, some sort of synthetic, but which is really nice around the neck. Even when I button this up, as you can see down here, one of these buttons came off. No problem, sewed it back on, used some contrasting color green thread just to snazz it up a little bit, put my touch on it. And I actually had to sew this on too. You can actually see some of that bright green stitching in there as well. That's no problem with this simple material. It's wool, a blend. This is not 100%, it's a blend. Something like that, sew right through it, can do a quick fix. Good as new. And this is a mid layer. So if I was going to be more active around camp, didn't need to wear a jacket, this is still going to keep me really warm with just maybe a long sleeve base layer on. I would potentially wear this under my wool coat depending on the activity I'm going to be doing, but this will work as an outer layer even in really cold weather. If I'm going to be active and I don't need to wear a coat, it's still going to keep me really warm even though it's not as heavy as a coat, just because the properties of wool is just going to keep me warm. Really like this sweater, I really do. If you have found any sweater that's sort of in this style with the collar, the buttons, even the extra material up there, let me know, please. I know there's other people that have been watching our videos have asked me about this, so that'd be great if we could direct them in the right way. And the last thing I have on this clothesline is sort of another mid layer, can be doubled as an outer layer depending on the weather, depending on the activity. This is actually Stony's. This is that traditional wool-rich buffalo check style. This was bought new earlier this year, or excuse me, late last year, early this winter. Woolrich again, gotta rep Pennsylvania, gotta rep Woolrich, just love this stuff. It's from our home state, really not that far away from us. Their woolen mill creates blankets. This wool comes from there, comes from the mill process there. And this isn't quite a shirt jacket, just as shirt jackets go, because I think there's an actual second material as a liner in there. You can see this doesn't really have a liner, but I still have no problem calling it a shirt jacket for another feature that's present on this that I'll show you. Again, button, really simple. You can see there's no inner liner. It's just that same pattern on the inside. Again, why I'm going to call this potentially a shirt jacket as an outer layer, because it has these angled hand warmer pockets right in the front here. So even though you might not want to wear this as an outer layer in the dead of winter, you're going to need a jacket. Fall, spring, most seasons in the year, at least where we live, in the climate we live in Pennsylvania right now, wool can be worn for most of the year. Now when the summer comes, as I mentioned before, when the humidity comes and all that, definitely no wool. I'm not really wearing any wool for those humid months of the year, but even in arid climates where I live in California, where I used to live in California, Arizona, where you still get that arid coolness at the night, depending where you are in the country, wool can be worn pretty much all year. And it's just great quality. Just love wool. One of the reasons why I love wool is having it next to a fire. Synthetics next to a fire, never want to wear. I never want to wear my synthetics next to a fire, because little embers, pieces of the fire coming out, are going to put holes in synthetics very, very easy. And maybe as a superficial thing, it's not that big a deal, but I just don't want to put holes potentially through my synthetics. It's a little bit more expensive. Synthetics are great for certain applications, but wool, I always want to wear wool next to a fire, because ember going to hit it, it's going to maybe singe a little bit, but it's not going to do the damage that it would on a synthetic. I hope this video was helpful. If you want to share experiences of how you like to wear wool, if you wear wool, if you choose to wear a different type of material in the winter months, let me know. Always looking to learn more from you who are watching this. That's part of the reason why we're doing all this, is to learn more. So it really pays for us to put out these videos. They take a lot of time for us. you know, sort of the payment we ask is for you just to comment, share your knowledge, share your, you know, critiques, constructive criticism, opinions, all that. It really, really makes it worth it when there's an exchange happening on each video. So I want to thank everyone who continues to comment. Remember to check out Black Outdoors on Facebook, check out blackoutdoors.com, check us out on Instagram. This is Krik signing out with Black Outdoors. Later, turtles.